Good morning. Woo, that's loud, sorry. Good morning, esteemed family, friends, and guests. The faculty, followed by the students, will be entering the area, processing from the left in the west entrance. Please clear the pathways in preparation of their entrance. The USC School of Architecture commencement ceremony will begin in just a few minutes. Families, friends, and guests, please rise for the processional.
Good morning, everyone. The University of Southern California acknowledges that this event is taking place throughout the unceded territory of California, home to nearly 200 tribal nations. As we begin this celebration, we acknowledge and honor the original inhabitants of the various regions. Let's take a moment to honor these ancestral grounds that we are collectively gathered upon and support the resilience and strength that all indigenous people have shown worldwide. USC is located on the traditional unceded territory of the Kizh and Tongva peoples. Dean Curry, it gives me tremendous pleasure to present the 2022 graduates of the School of Architecture at the University of Southern California.
Good morning. Welcome. Thank you, Marshals Hakamori and Sandmeyer. I'm Milton Curry, Dean of the USC School of Architecture, and the Della and Harry McDonald Dean's Chair in Architecture. It's a great honor to welcome graduating students, parents and guardians, family, friends, honored guests. Welcome all of you to our commencement ceremony of the School of Architecture at the University of Southern California. It's an honor to have Provost Charles Zukoski with us today. Since arriving in 2019, Provost Zukoski, holder of the Shelley and Ofer Nemirovsky Provost Chair, has been helping to lead the university with a strong business acumen, a spirit of collaboration, transparency, and with compassion and care. Along with President Folt, the Provost has been an ardent champion of diversity, equity, and inclusion, as well as access and affordability. Thank you for joining us today. With us today is a special guest and keynote speaker, Dr. Earl Lewis. I'll be introducing Dr. Lewis later in the program. We sincerely thank you for accepting our invitation to address this year's class of 2022, and we look forward to hearing from you. I'd next like to introduce the faculty. Their skill and expertise set an all-encompassing standard of excellence for our students. Will all our faculty please rise as a group and be recognized? The school has two important bodies that assist in meeting the demands for excellence in teaching, research, and creative work: the Board of Counselors and the USC Architectural Guild. In its 63rd year, the USC Architectural Guild has been supporting the educational mission of the school through the dedication of alumni and supporters across the design-build industry. I'm thankful for their assistance with career and professional development and their support for the school. I know you are too. Please welcome the incoming president of the Architectural Guild and USC BARC alumna, Jenna Knudsen. Likewise, our Board of Counselors is a part of the university-wide network of thought leaders and donors who assist the dean and senior leadership in defining the school's continuum of excellence. They continue to have a positive impact in resourcing the school and connecting students and faculty to their extensive networks. Please welcome BOC member, who is also a USC BARC alumna, Amy Pokowatana. Additionally, I would like to recognize the people who are the quiet heroes who labor behind the scenes to provide for the needs of the school, our amazing School of Architecture staff. Thank you all. I want to say a few words to you. And it's great to be in person and doing commencement, not online, but in person. So it's great to be here. Congratulations again to the USC Architecture Class of 2022. It's been great to see you progress through the years and also to see all of your friends, family, and guardians here with you today. Our thoughts go out to each and every one of you who have experienced the social, economic, and personal turmoil of these past 3 years. Together, you and your classmates have worked hard with the support of your families and friends, faculty and staff, to persevere in order to arrive at this day, at this moment. I am so proud of you all for what you've accomplished, but also the way you have accomplished your successes. With poise, grace, and a shared sense of values and purpose. The USC School of Architecture is a premier global design school, a 21st century platform for instruction, research, and creative production on cities and landscapes, architecture and urbanism, buildings and technologies, histories and theories about the built environment and the design environment at all scales. Since its establishment in 1919, over 100 years ago, the school has been a place for individual invention and has graduated architects whose eclectic way of thinking and groundbreaking personal narratives symbolize the school's rigorous yet pluralistic pedagogies. You are all now part of a distinguished group of alumni, the likes of Paul Revere Williams, Frank Gehry, Mark Lee, William Pereira, Tom Main, Behnaz Ferrari, and many more. And I'm here to tell you that with each class that I've seen over the past 5 years, that list is getting more and more diverse. As the first Black American to be dean here and the first to hold such a position at institutions like USC nationally, I too know something about breaking down barriers and making the spaces that I'm in more diverse and more inclusive. Over the past 5 years, our BARC program has become the most ethnically, racially, socioeconomically diverse program in the nation, while achieving the lowest admit rate on record in the school's history. You have proven that diversity and excellence not only belong in the same sentence, but are inextricably connected to becoming more fully human. That diversity, connected with our global diversity that extends to our graduate programs, and combined with our renowned Global Studies program, is changing the kinds of conversations I hear in the hallways and on design juries. The naivete of ignorance and misunderstanding is replaced by wondering, sometimes aloud, what would it be like to be the person or the identity of the people I am designing this building for? What would it mean to be or to have been homeless, a refugee? The entire paradigm of the self as center disappears, and suddenly our lives become much more than me or I. That is the person we want you to be. You represent the future, and despite our current challenges with threats to our democracy, the erosion of respect for universal human rights, and the damage to our environment, you must leave here with not only a sense of optimism, but a shared responsibility to be the citizen architects, designers, scholars that we've trained you to be in order to make the change that we all need to see. Our planet needs you, our cities need you, our landscapes need you, and our communities need you. Your intelligence cannot be siloed by a single profession or a single discipline. And for those that believe that architecture, landscape architecture, urbanism, heritage conservation, and building science are not engaged in the broader intellectual project of producing culture, they are sadly mistaken. Today, in 2022, the project of architecture and design is not purely about aesthetics, beauty, or even function. It's about ideology. Architecture is power. And to the extent that we wield that power in ways that are more egalitarian, empathetic, and generous, we will make a better world, and we will produce culture that deploys aesthetics and beauty to make the culture that is produced inclusive and engaging. Today, our school, our students, and our faculty are advancing knowledge by invoking architectural thinking to propel ideas into actionable projects. And today, we unleash into the world a new group of graduates who will go on to lead our nation and world in developing better problems in order to forge more sustainable solutions to our common challenges. With that distinction, you will also be challenged to carry the weight of the moment, not as individuals, but as a collective, to shoulder the weight of responsibility and a simultaneous call to action. Just as our ancestors rose to prominence, not by being star architects, but by being exceptional human beings, trying to anticipate through design what the world needed and what kinds of buildings, landscapes, and environments would help future human beings to thrive. I look forward to all the great work that you all will do. It's been my highest honor to serve as your dean for these past 5 years. Thank you, and fight on. Congratulations to the class of 2022. Each year, the graduating students select one of their classmates to represent them at commencement and present some remarks to this assembly. This year, undergraduate student Lindsay Lent was selected for this honor. Lindsay, please come forward.
Hello, everyone. Hello to my peers and professors, our families and friends. It's so weird seeing everyone outside of studio. I remember the first day of architecture school 5 whole years ago when we all were gathered in the Watt Hall courtyard with our fresh out of the box 5-pound PCs. We were standing outside the concrete basement where we were going to learn how to design the next generation of buildings. And as a first class-wide activity, we were all given a little piece of paper and told to draw what architecture looked like to us, to think like an architect. I didn't know anything about architecture yet. I drew a cartoon-style home with 2 square windows and smoke coming out of the chimney. My definition of architecture has expanded so drastically over the past 5 years, as I'm sure it has for all of us. And I think so has our ability to think like an architect. We think like an architect whenever we enter a building. Do you ever freak your roommates out by knowing the exact height and width of a doorway? Or the rise and run of the steps in your apartment stairwell? We know the distance between columns and the difference between a clerestory and a cantilever. It's almost like a superpower. We enter a building and we have X-ray vision to the 2 means of egress and the network of steel rebar in the concrete foundation. Who else has this incredible acute awareness of the factors that affect every structure we enter into every day? Thinking like an architect extends past definitions and dimensions. We have a 6th sense for space, a compulsion to provide a compelling reason for every move we make. To think like an architect is to think empathetically. We have an investment in the public good and an inclination to build something bigger than ourselves. We recognize the immeasurable power in changing our space for changing the future. To think like an architect is not only to think about the community, but to think alongside our student community. Architecture school isn't just about buildings. It's having a 3 a.m. conversation with 3 former strangers about our disillusionment with organized religion while sticking wooden rods together with tacky glue. It's the fact that we're the only group of students at USC whose weekend homework is to design a museum. It's an environment of shared X-Acto knives, design advice, life advice, and hours of time. Everyone goes to school to learn, but it's not at every school you learn how to think about the big picture and the small details, to think with each other, for each other. And as we enter into this next phase of our lives, we'll most likely encounter that uncertain first day of school feeling all over again. But if we've mastered an entirely new way of thinking over the last half decade, there is no limit to what we can learn going forward. Our most important assets are our minds, and I think the class of 2022 has a lot of big ideas. I love you guys.
Thank you, Lindsay. This year, graduate student Caitlin Lentz was selected to present some remarks. Caitlin?
Hi, everyone. It's an honor to be standing in front of you all today. Where has the time flown? I can't believe this day has finally come, that we are about to walk out of the gates of the University of Southern California with graduate degrees in architecture, building science, landscape architecture, and heritage conservation. It feels like only yesterday that we were in Watt 209 for boot camp, cranking out drawings and models in the early hours of the morning. While our late nights, hours poured into our projects, and intense workload were demanding and stressful, it taught us to be stoic, tenacious, and resilient. These moments brought us closer together and created friendships that will last beyond our days at USC. Of course, we would not be here without our incredible professors and faculty who have become close mentors and role models for us. These individuals have guided us through challenging moments and have pushed our creative abilities, helping us to achieve projects and milestones that were at one time a distant dream. Thank you for your dedication to teaching and, for many occasions, seeing more in us than we could see in ourselves. Thank you to our families who have supported us along the journey, whether that be in our city of Los Angeles or in countries many miles away. We would not be standing here without you. Stepping out into our future, we are equipped with technical skills and a passion for excellence that will propel us to be stewards of the built environment. We have learned what it means to take faith in the journey of architecture school and trust in our design intuition. More importantly, we are graduating with gratitude that will stay with us far beyond our professional careers. It is not the easy days that make the great architects, designers, and thinkers of this world, but the tough days of critique, hard effort, and perseverance that shape us into the individuals we have become. While our story here at USC is now complete, we know that our journeys are only beginning. Let's see what our futures have in store. Congratulations to our graduating class of 2022. Cheers.
Thank you, Caitlin. Graduating with honors from the School of Architecture is, I believe, more difficult than in any other discipline. In creative production, there is no right answer, and the search for that answer often keeps our students up late at night, hopefully not all night. Achieving excellence in architecture requires extreme discipline. Students who receive honors at the highest levels are exemplars of what our students can accomplish. I would like now to recognize the exceptional undergraduate students who are graduating magna cum laude and cum laude, many of whom are recent inductees into the National Architecture, Landscape Architecture, and the Allied Arts Honor Society, Tau Sigma Delta. Will our undergraduate students graduating magna cum laude and cum laude please stand and be recognized? Congratulations. I'd also like to recognize our exceptional graduate students whose hard work has resulted in their placement as inductees to the National Architecture, Landscape Architecture, and the Allied Arts Honor Society, Tau Sigma Delta. Will our master's students graduating with Tau Sigma Delta honor please stand and be recognized? Congratulations again. We're also proud to recognize the work of the students who have been selected to receive the following awards. As we acknowledge your honors, please stand to be recognized. Everyone, please hold your applause until all 3 awards have been announced. The American Institute of Architects, through its foundation, presents awards to the graduates with the highest academic standing in the professional Bachelor of Architecture and Master of Architecture degrees. The undergraduate and graduate students with the highest grade point average are the recipients of the AIA Medal. Receiving the AIA Medal are Lindsay Lent, Caitlin Lentz, the Alpha Rho Chi School Medal is awarded to the student who has shown ability for leadership, performed willing service for his or her school, and gave promise of real professional merit through his or her attitude and personality. Receiving the Alpha Rho Chi Medal this year is Victoria Dam. The Tau Sigma Delta Medal is given in recognition of outstanding architecture design as selected by the student members of Tau Sigma Delta. This year's award is given to Raul Menezes and Caitlin Lentz. Can we have all of our awardees stand? Great. Fantastic. I'd now like to call upon Associate Dean for Academic Affairs Doug Noble to recognize undergraduate and graduate students for their excellence. Doug?
Thank you. The school recognizes the following students who have been selected by the undergraduate faculty for excellence. As your name is called, please stand and be recognized and remain standing. Yancy Gamboa, the Thomas Byerts Award for Social and Community Focus. Cecilia Stratton, the Design Tactics Award. Lindsay Lent, the Strategic Realizations Award. Justin Sai Wan, the Research and Postcolonial Urbanism Award. Amanda Tian, the Innovative Housing Design Award. Marifer I studied this. Marifer Echeverria Alegre, the Pop Infrastructure Award. Amanda Tian and Han Chen Shu, the Overall Studio Design Award. An Lee and Keifiwi Mogorosi, the Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies Outstanding Degree Research Project Award. Congratulations to everyone. Please be seated. The following students have been selected by the graduate faculty to receive awards. As your name is called, please stand and be recognized. Remain standing until I ask you to be seated. Lin Zhu, the Master of Advanced Architectural Studies Director's Award. Jin Mong Han, for outstanding innovation in directed design research. Xixi Luo and Baoqi Xiao, for outstanding mastery in directed design research. Bryce Sciano and Tori Smolinski, for outstanding directed design research. And the following citations go to the following students for outstanding directed design research projects: Rory Adams, Danielle Burns, Ludovica Gonzalez, Caitlin Lentz, Gonghao Liu, and David Tai. Xiaobo Yang, the Master of Building Science Outstanding Thesis Award. Krupa Pai, the Master of Building Science Outstanding Research Award. Jensen Chen, the Architectural Research Center Consortium ARCC King Medal. Lindsay McLeod Mulcahy, the Master of Heritage Conservation Outstanding Thesis Award. Ana Maria Mangino Oliveri Sangiacomo, the Landscape Justice Initiative Award. I hope I did that okay, Ana Maria, thank you. And finally, the Southern California chapter of the American Society of Landscape Architects honor recipient awards are Andrea Binz and Asher Reed Guzik. Please be seated. Dean Curry will now introduce today's keynote speaker.
Thank you, Associate Dean Noble. Congratulations to everyone. It's now my honor to introduce this year's commencement speaker, Dr. Earl Lewis. Dr. Lewis is a Thomas C. Holt Distinguished University Professor of History, Afro-American and African Studies, and Public Policy, and the inaugural director of the Center for Social Solutions at the University of Michigan. As a founding director of the Center for Social Solutions, Dr. Lewis has profound insights on how the design of American cities can be a part of the repair needed to build more inclusive communities. As president of the A.W. Mellon Foundation, he launched the Architecture, Urbanism, and Humanities grants, signifying a profound leap forward in the Foundation's support of design and scholarship in the fields of architecture, urban design, and urbanism. Throughout his accomplished career, he has leveraged his deep understanding of social phenomena to link the liberal arts, social sciences, and work on the built environment to craft contemporary solutions to some of the most intractable problems. Please join me in welcoming our keynote speaker, Dr. Earl Lewis.
Thank you, Dean Curry, Milton, for that generous introduction. Graduates, I am humbled and honored to have been invited to deliver this year's address. I want to start with the most important words anyone on this stage may utter this day. Graduates, congratulations. No matter your individual story, your collective story is clear. You persevered, you succeeded, you graduated. 14 years ago, I sat on the other side of a stage like this on this campus celebrating my daughter as she graduated from USC as an undergraduate. Today, I join your parents, spouses, children, friends, faculty, and loved ones who mark this day by celebrating your accomplishments, whether you have earned a bachelor's, master's, or certificate. When Dean Curry invited me to keynote this year's ceremonies, I reflected on what could be said, ever mindful of the short shelf life of commencement addresses. Over the years, I've delivered a dozen or so addresses and attended at least 20 more graduation ceremonies. Like many of you, I don't recall most of them. That's not to say they weren't important, often inspirational, and at times deeply moving. But this is a day for the graduates and those they deem important. So graduates, now that we have praised you, I ask that you now congratulate the members of your support system. At this time, I invite all graduates who can to stand and to applaud those in their lives that made this moment possible. Thank you. You may be seated. For several years, even before the pandemic, I've used similar occasions to reflect on the importance of grace and resilience. Today, I want to depart from that message a bit. Instead, I want to expand upon the idea of purpose. Or more precisely, I want to invite you graduates to reflect on what's your purpose? What role do you play in tackling the world's problems, big and small? Let me start with the story of an extraordinary friend who passed away in 2021 after what could be described as a remarkable life. He was a man who redefined the meaning of purpose several times over 8+ decades. In life, you discover genius is evenly distributed around the world, but access to opportunity is not. Mentors and sages come from a variety of walks of life, and they aren't always the most adorned. And the gift of education requires more than getting ahead. It is best leveraged when one matches doing well with doing good. Now, how many of you have ever heard of Vartan Gregorian? Anyone? Any hands? Born in 1934 in Tabriz, what was then Persia, now Iran, of Armenian heritage, Vartan started life disadvantaged. A mother who loved and adored him died when he was a youngster, as did a brother. His father remained indifferent, if not hostile, to Vartan and his younger sister, Ojik. Those feelings hardened when the father's new wife voiced her displeasure with the two now in her charge. Thankfully, a maternal grandmother stepped in to provide love, guidance, support, and encouragement. As Vartan would tell me and countless others over dinner and convivial conversation, his grandmother was his first and earliest teacher and mentor, although herself illiterate. She philosophized, and I quote, that when you buy a horse, you buy both ends, the head and the, you get the picture. She encouraged him to read, to use books and words to transport himself to different places and times. Through her tutelage, he came to value the development of the mind. Along the way, he learned Armenian, Russian, and Farsi. Then he made his way to Beirut, where he learned Turkish, Arabic, and French, and finally English. But what if the school in Beirut had turned its back on a young Vartan? If it had, he would have never made it to Stanford in 1956, where he earned his undergraduate degree in 2 years, and stayed on and earned his doctoral degree in 1964. Moreover, he would have never become provost at Penn, president of the New York Public Library, which he helped save, president of Brown University, which he transformed, followed by president of the Carnegie Corporation, which he headed for 24 years. At each step, he served and he led. He displayed his purpose: change and improve lives individually and collectively. From this thumbnail sketch, what's to be gleaned, you designers, builders, knowledge producers, architects? Vartan's life reminds us all that genius requires nurturing and support. The new program to introduce and develop architectural talent in the Black and brown communities of Los Angeles is one such example of what can be done and what must be done to build a world inclusive of the experiences and intellect of all. One of America's first Black architects, after all, lived here in Los Angeles, and USC alum Paul R. Williams distinguished himself in an era when being the only could be brutally lonely. As many of you know, in 2017, long after his death, the American Institute of Architects awarded him the gold medal, his highest honor. This came after he designed more than 3,000 buildings, including homes for such celebrities as Frank Sinatra and Lucille Ball. As notable, this year's Pritzker Architectural Prize went to Burkina Faso native Diabedo Francis Carey, making him the first African winner ever. Since 2004, the prize has gone to 6 women winners, but not such notables as Denise Scott Brown. Like Vartan, their achievements speak to the wide dispersal of genius and highlight why it is important to create pathways to identify and develop that genius. Moreover, the search for and development of talent requires intentionality. So class of 2022, what is your purpose? While race and gender diversity are exceedingly important, there are other elements of diversity that demand attention as we consider the built environment. When you think about space and design, when do you consider physical ability? What do you consider? Is the answer only a ramp? Are the sidewalks that are flat and easily traversed this year destined to remain that way given the juxtaposition of trees and shrubs? A landscape architect may know something about the pathway of root systems, but would a botanist or arborist be an excellent partner? When you imagine, do you do so with the future in mind through a multi, if not interdisciplinary lens? Again, I ask, what is your purpose? When you design computer schematics, how do you take into account neurological learning differences? Can a room be too loud or too quiet? Can a surface lack the tactile features needed to unlock the creativity within? Who do you see as you go about the work of imagining new buildings, spaces, and creations? Vartan shared that he was once a finalist to serve as president of the University of Michigan. A regent, one of our trustees, let it be known he opposed Vartan's nomination and election because of his funny name, unruly hair, and foreign accent. Vartan went to Brown instead. This was the case when that regent could not see Vartan Gregorian in the space the regent unquestionably loved. We all have blinders. Do you know yours? Here I ask, can your purpose blind you to other possibilities? On my campus, the central administration was housed in what was known as the Fleming Building, named for revered University of Michigan President Robin Fleming. Fleming came to the university in the late 1960s and led during a time of social and campus unrest. The building built in his honor had all of a feel of Oscar Newman's classic treatise on defensible spaces. Narrow slits for windows, stairways that allowed traffic in only one direction, down and out, and office locations that conveyed rank and power. It offered neither the warmth nor character of the man. Early this year, the administration finally moved to a new location, and the Fleming Building will come down sometime this summer, I'm told. I offer this to remind us all that few things are permanent. But thinking about space and place 50 years out, rather than 5 years out, may require a new way of putting together teams, of seeking mentors, of nurturing genius. Architectural historian Diane Harris reminds us that in the post-World War II world, so much of what was built in the United States showcased the impermeability of inclusion. In her 2013 book, Little White Houses, Harris wrote, and I quote, "Between 1945 and 1960, a pervasive iconography of white, middle-class domesticity circulated widely in various media and became instantiated in millions of new homes across the United States." This book examines the way textual and visual representation of those houses continuously and reflexively created, recreated, and reinforced mid-century notions about race, ethnic, and class identities, specifically the rightness of associating white identities with home ownership and citizenship, end of quote. From the vantage point of 2022, a commentary on race and inclusion may seem all too commonsensical. Yet, our campuses are more often in conflict with our rhetoric than we care to acknowledge. We talk about engaging with community and serving as anchor institutions for cities, neighborhoods, and citizens. I cannot tell you how many campuses I've been on that are designed to face inward rather than outward. Rather than building space in the adjacent communities and inviting people in, they face the quadrangle, yard, or dyad, and seem to demarcate who's in community and who's outside. This tendency is compounded by poor wayfinders on most campuses. Years ago, I was delivering a speech at an Ivy League institution I won't name. The office assistant conveyed that it was a bit too cold for her to come and retrieve me from where I was staying. She gave me what she considered good directions. At the time, the campus buildings, like the secret handshakes of praise eating clubs, required special knowledge or connections to gain that access. After roaming around the campus for a few minutes, I went into a building to warm up, and as luck would have it, discovered I had stumbled upon the correct location. I ask again, as you think about the campus and building, what is your purpose? If we face inward and exclude outsiders by making it hard for them to navigate our spaces, we signal that notwithstanding our lofty claims, they don't matter and we don't care. Here I suggest that even if your clients lack the ideal sensibilities, as you go forth, you must. Remember the young Vartan looking for signs that he is welcomed and belongs. And like Vartan's grandmother, understand that many can and will serve as mentors. Some may have heralded degrees and celebrated achievements. Others may not. Each, if you are open, may offer you valuable lessons. When I served as provost at Emory University, I made it a point of playing pickup basketball about once a week, schedule permitting. Most thought I did so because I loved the game and needed the exercise. That was true. I also did it because it was one of the most democratic spaces on campus. Students, faculty, staff, men, and women. In between games, I learned more about what was or wasn't working on campus than hours of meetings I sat through weekly. Responses and comments varied, but the encounters taught me anew that mentors came from many sectors. Where do you find your mentors? As important, how do you design congregation spaces to facilitate mentoring? Gyms work for some, libraries for others, coffee shops and eateries, many more. But what about impromptu parks, bookshops, museums, hospitals, churches, synagogues, mosques, in other religious settings. What couldn't become a congregation spot? Is that a part of your purpose? Building and designing spaces to develop and nurture community. As you move away from the University of Southern California, I wish you well. I hope you recall the story of Vartan Gregorian, the Armenian-Iranian immigrant who changed America. He represented the universality of genius. He understood the significance of mentors, and he embraced the importance of leading. Leave this place and embrace your genius. Find your mentors and do more than follow. Lead. The world needs leaders as we tackle a plethora of grand challenges. Go forth, and claim your purpose. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Another round of applause for Dr. Lewis. Thank you so much for that timely message. We're going to get you some degrees pretty soon, I promise. It's now time to present the graduating students of the USC School of Architecture, and I'd like to call upon undergraduate program director Doris Sung, who will present the candidates for bachelor's degrees at this time. Marshall Sandmeyer and Hakamori, Amy Pokawatana of the Board of Counselors, and Jenna Knudsen will assist in this process.
Thank you. This is a very special time for each individual graduate. As each director call out the names, please come forward and receive your diploma. We realize that friends and loved ones would like to take photos of this event. We would only ask that you once notice the alphabetical sequence as listed in the program, and at the appropriate time, stand up from your seat to take your photo, or exit stage right and follow the graduate as they come off the stage, and then take photos at that time. Please stay on the outside of the fence for your photos and return to your seats. Please do not move up or stand in the aisles, as it is not allowed for safety reasons and also blocks the view of others. Are we ready? Can we start? Okay, I'm going to start now. Ryan James Alba. Can't see. Can't see when to go next. Jennifer Albino. Rachel Emily Alexander. Sam Anderson. Michael Elliott Arie. Alexia Mary Avanesian. Seichuan Stella Chen. Minji Cho. Claudia Chu. Chak Chung. Linda Deng. Yesenia Diaz. Clarence Diogo. Marifer Echeverry Alegre. Elizabeth Ellinger. Itzayana Felipe. Junyi Fu. Annabelle Fung. Yancy Gamboa. Heidi Garcia Carmen. Rashi Gupta. Keontae D. One more time. Keontae D. Hickman. Evan Olivas Ho. Darwin Hu. Gabriella M. Jarbo. Erin Marie Kellett. Devin Kida. Evital Cohen. Sue Kuj. Paulina Romanovna Kulikova. Allison Lee. Jongmin Chloe Lee. Lindsay Lent. Jeffrey Liao. Stephen Lin. Jingyi Jacqueline Liu. Raul Menezes. Julia Corinne Mosher. Jose Ignacio Onrubia. Eric Orta. Janair Oz. Hike Petrosian. Camille Ryder. Madeline Michelle Rosen. Sophia Saramsaki. Stephanie Saunders. Veronica Skupin. Noah John Sader. Cecilia Stratton. Paulina Alejandra Suarez. Valerie Toronto. Nazreen Tarbell. Jacob Robert Nainoa Tennant. Amanda Tian. Christina Ann Tom. Shania K. Turner. Juan Jose Villatoro Moreno. Justin C. Y. Wan. Bingxin Wang. Cassidy Matthew Williams. Byron Wan Lit Wong. I'm not missing one. Emily Wu. Chan Amy Wu. Han Chen Shu. Benjamin Jinkyu Yang. Sung Juntao Yoon. Jose Eduardo Zagal. Yinghao Zhang. I think I need. Did we finish? It is with great pleasure to present the degree candidates for the Bachelor of Science in Architectural Studies. I know I don't know which one. Sorry about that. Christy Andono Xie. Nicholas Griffith. Emily Jiang. An Lee. Jonah Lee. Brad Manucha. Kefilwe Mogorosi. Which one is it? We have one more B-Arc. Li Chao Wei. Sorry about that. Congratulations to everyone. Please welcome the Director of Graduate Architecture Programs, Alvin Huang, who will announce the candidates for the Master of Advanced Architectural Studies and Masters of Architecture degrees.
It is with great pleasure to present the degree candidates for the Master of Advanced Architectural Studies. Fang Yi Chen. Yu-Ru Doris Guo. Charisse Shabazian. Lin Zhu. Fan Zhou. Congratulations, everyone. It is also a great pleasure to present to you the degree candidates for the Masters of Architecture. Ruri Sky Adams. Seville Tara Akdora. Masi Barin. Danielle Burns. Akashlina Ray Chawadri. Xiao Deng. David Flores. Kaiswan Fu. Ludovica Gonzalez. Jinming Han. Chichang Han. Chupei Hu. Xinting Huang. Shizoba Ibenusi. Mikina Ito. Christopher Wade Nauf. Richard Yin Lee. Caitlin E. Lentz. Nungjing Lee. Zheng Li. Yue Liang. Jian Lin. Lucy Chongray Liu. Gonghao Liu. Litao Liu. Shishi Luo. Jamil A. Marsden. Sanchit Mehta. Sean Mergler. Shadan Mirzai. Tianyi Mu. Kevin Ness. Maruga Padye. Nguyen Pham. Bianca Rowe. Bryce Michael Schiano. Alexander Laird Shirley. Tori A. Smolinski. Ilana Hoban Spindell. Ming Yue Tang. David Tai. Aspen Lee Thurman. Yi Wong. Jordan Weinstein. Yisheng Wu. Baoqi Xiao. Xicheng Xiong. Xingyun Xu. Yida Chui. Han Yang. Jin Yang. Duoshan Ella Yang. Keely Shueting Yu. Zishuan Zheng. Xingyu Cheng. Congratulations to everyone. Please welcome the Director of the Master of Building Science program, Kyle Konis, who will announce the candidates for that degree.
It is with great pleasure to present the degree candidates for the Master of Building Science. Mohammed Nabil Al-Wataid. Jensen Chen. Mohammed Dadabai. Victoria Dam. Minghyun Gong. Weishan Liu. Krupa Pai. Chinmay Shrikant Shimpi. Jun Wang. Zihan Wang. Xiaobo Yang. Ruisong Zheng. Congratulations to everyone. Please welcome Trudy Sandmeyer, Director of the Heritage Conservation Program, who will announce the candidates for that degree.
It is with great pleasure, and I am honored and proud to present the candidates for the Master of Heritage Conservation degree. Catherine Amundsen. Hanyu Chen. Zhongqi Li. Emi Takahara. Stacy Rose Williams. Zining Ye. Congratulations to each of you. Please welcome Allison Hirsch, Director of the Landscape Architecture and Urbanism Program, who will announce the candidates for that degree.
It is with great pleasure to present the degree candidates for the Master of Landscape Architecture and Urbanism. Colin James Amos. Andrea Elizabeth Binns. Gabrielle McKenna Castriata. Yue Chen. Nahali Jugnu Rajiv Doshi. Kunyang Guo. Asher Reed Guzik. Yushin Jiang. Lara Natasha Lebeko. Jin Ma. Anna Maria Mangino Olivieri San Giacomo. Diana Lee Nightingale. Banin Zera Risvi. Yiling Xu. Yifan Yin. And finally, the candidate for the Graduate Certificate in Landscape Architecture is William S. Rollins. Thank you, Dean Curry.
Congratulations to all the graduates. Good morning, what a glorious day. I'm Amy Pokawatana, a B.Arch graduate, a member of the School of Architecture Board of Counselors, and president of the Architectural Guild Board of Directors. In my day job, I am Vice President of Development Design with Hudson Pacific Properties. Joining me on stage is Jenna Knudsen, 1997 B.Arch alumna and incoming president of the Architectural Guild Board, and also managing director or managing principal of Co-Architects here in Los Angeles. We congratulate each and every one of our 2022 graduates, and we stand with your families and friends gathered here today honoring, celebrating, and saluting you. Many of you know that Dean Curry has made the decision to step down at the end of June after serving with great distinction and aplomb as dean. On behalf of the board members, I would like to acknowledge Dean Curry's strong leadership and vision over the past 5 years. When Dean Milton Curry began his term in 2017, he indicated that he went into teaching because he wanted to inspire students, be inspired by students, and pursue impactful research and creative work. And he got into academic leadership because he wanted to have a broader impact on design education and the profession. As dean, there's no better place to make such an impact than USC School of Architecture, a place of deep innovation and commitment to the profession and disciplinary integrity of architecture. The school turned the page on its first 100th year anniversary in 2019, and we celebrated its legacy of design innovation. The school has produced some of the most significant architects and architectural movements. And while we're proud of our rich history and significant contributions in California and around the globe, we're also looking ahead to set the pace for the next 100 years.
Dean Curry's strong leadership inspired us all to effect necessary changes and forge a clear strategic vision, one that leverages the broader industry and the global trend lines of the built and landscape environments and reflects the values of this university administration. Under his leadership, the school has been a forward-looking platform that guides and inspires the next generation of students, designers, and scholars to be citizen architects who are collaborative, compassionate, change agents, and community-focused. Dean Curry's and the school's accomplishments are too many to list, but just to summarize a few. There has been investments in student enrichment through scholarships, access, and affordability, a focus on diversity, with each new freshman class composing of more first-generation, female, and underrepresented students than ever. New investments in the student experience through new academic programming and curriculum, and a world-class faculty, adding new tenure-track faculty who bring strong expertise and reputation for excellence. Moreover, he has inspired the entire community to be engaged, advancing architectural thinking, social justice, and inclusion to help solve the most complex challenges in the built and natural environments. In closing, Dean Curry, on behalf of the Board of Counselors and the Architectural Guild Board, some 50 combined individual leaders, architects, builders, finance executives, community leaders, and philanthropists, thank you. We are not saying goodbye, simply farewell for now, while you are on a much-deserved sabbatical. I will now hand it back to Dean Curry, and again, congratulations to our 2022 class.
Thank you so much, Amy and Jenna, for that. I really appreciate it. And congratulations to the class of 2022. I want to thank Professors Sung, Huang, Konis, Sandmeyer, and Hirsch, and Amy and Jenna again, and all of you. On behalf of the school, we invite all of you to join us for lunch following this ceremony at the Watt Hall and Harris Hall courtyards at the School of Architecture. Also, please be sure to take part in the Expo 2022, an exhibition of our graduating students' excellent work in the building, in the Watt Hall building. Graduates, you've taken a very important step towards a bright future. I hope that you will keep in touch with us, continue to engage the school and its efforts, and inspire others that you meet along your journey to aspire to the accomplishments and impact that you've made here at our school and will continue to make in the coming years. Will all graduates please rise? I present to you the graduates of the School of Architecture of the University of Southern California, class of 2022. Yes, you can throw your hats up if you want. Liability has been waived. Will all parents and guardians of the graduates please rise? And will all families, spouses, partners, supporters, and loved ones please rise? Thank you all for your support for these graduates. I now declare the commencement of the School of Architecture closed. We ask that all students and guests stay in their seats until the platform party and faculty have left the stage. Thank you, and fight on.